when my sisters wanted me to play dolls with them, I would roll my eyes. They would wrap their dolls up in blankies and treat their dolls like they were people. And I thought, that's so silly. Well, you know what I played? I played with my trucks. And I could make my trucks loud. I could make my cars climb the side of a tree. I was pretty happy with my toys that I got to play with. One of the things that my parents didn't let me do was bring my toys to church. Do you bring your toys to church? So I would sneak them in. I would put them in my pocket. And when they weren't looking, I would play. But church is a time to focus your thinking, your mind, your attention on God. It wasn't a time of the place to come and play. Let me tell you something. I went to some villages and met some boys and girls that didn't have any toys. They didn't have any dolls. They didn't have any toy trucks and cars. They didn't have any toys, none. What would they play then? They would make their own toys. Some would make slingshots. And they would take clay and roll it up into little balls. And their slingshots then had some ammunition. And they would shoot at birds and whatever else. They could shoot their whatever. They would also take a car tire that was no good, just laying on the side of the road, and they'd play with the tire. They'd stand it up and make it start rolling, take a stick beside it, and run beside the tire, and run and run and run and run. Turn the tire, make a U-turn, come back, and they... I don't know what the girls did. I wasn't paying attention. But one of the things that I brought this morning to show you that they made from just a tin can in Africa was this car. It's got a string and a stick attached to it. And they made that car out of a tin can. And they just pull it and walk around, make it do all kinds of things. Let me tell you how they made this car. They made it out of a tin can that they cut apart, pulled apart, and the axles that the wheels are on, the tires are on, those came from a hanger. They just bent it until they had about 4 inches there, and as well as the back. That's where that axle came from. And the tires are from an old flip-flop. They just made them round, cut them, and put dualies. There's dualies on the back of this little car, and it's got a little spring to the front end. I mean, they were quite innovative. They were building something that they thought in their mind, I'm going to make my own little car. Let me just remind you that in the mind of God, before you were ever even born, He knew and planned what you were going to be like. And He made you perfectly, not out of old flip-flops or a hanger or a tin can, but He made you perfectly just the way He wanted you to be. I've got a nice little car here. Before we go to prayer this morning,